We're gone.
Few years ago, they made a whole big fuss over this Rey movie. Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, Daisy Ridley, they were all brought out to stand with the evil queen herself, the Femperor, if you would, Kathleen Kennedy, to stand the Galactic Fempire. That is what Lucasfilm is called now.
That's
I've been saying that for months. But the it was all, this is the next big thing. It's the new Jedi Order. It's going to be, the greatest thing to ever happen to Star Wars. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. Hooray. The crowd goes wild. We've been through, I think, 4 or 5 scriptwriters at this point. I think 5, because one of them was a duo, but they cannot get a script out. And this is just in a holding pattern. It is once again one of those development hell movies that is just never moving forward. We heard nothing about it. All in her speech, Kennedy said something like, "And Charmin Obaid-Chinoy is still directing our movie," that was about it. They cast an activist director who came up there and said, "It's about time for a woman to tell the," I don't know. I'm trying to do an Indian accent. It's sounding Irish, but they're saying, she said, "It's about time for a woman to." I could do it a lot better, but it would be offensive. But nobody cares about offending the Irish. But she said it's about time that a woman shape a galaxy far, far away, which we're like, what Star Wars universe have you been looking at for the last, decade or so? And then she talked about how the important thing was exploring Rey's journey as a female Jedi. Just everything about this movie is just nonsense dreck, and nobody wants it. They got one of the guys from Lost to write it originally, because Kathleen Kennedy is obsessed with J.J. Abrams and his disciples. They got the Peaky Blinders guy, all of them in the door, out the door, because apparently they could not they could not agree on a script.
Well, just a little bit of a further explanation on that. Actually, it was Damon Lindelof that pitched the movie to Kathleen Kennedy initially, right? So this is why it's even more of a shit show, because Damon Lindelof pitched a film to Lucasfilm. They approved it and was like, "Yep, cool, keep going. Do a full script." So he pitched, obviously an idea. They then hired him to write a full script. He then hired, jointly with Lucasfilm, they then got another writing partner on board for Damon Lindelof. They then got the director on board. Lucasfilm then booted the original writers that had even come up with the idea off the project. Right? They pitched the idea.
Yep.
It's even worse than what you've said. Because Lucasfilm, we like that idea. That's fine. Then they booted them off the project to get other people on. That's horrendous.
I guarantee you it would have just been canned and canceled, but she made such a big deal over the fact that Rey was coming back, dragging Daisy Ridley out there. She knows that she would never survive saying that this movie is canceled. So now it's just going to be in development hell, and it's going to keep getting new writers, and it's going to keep getting pushed back until the day comes where people just stop talking about it, just like everything else.
Well, yeah, there's supposed to be a Rian Johnson trilogy as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, that got announced. I'm still waiting on the Droid show and the Lando show. That was announced, I think, like 6
the Feige movie.
Ago. Yeah, Feige movie.
Well, Dave and Dave.
Yeah, Dave and Dave. Yeah, that's another one.
Mental.
They're a complete joke.
There are 11 things that have been said out loud that have not happened ever. They've gone through more writers and directors than they've made total films or television shows.
Yeah. Facts.
So bad.
But look, literally, they are the biggest joke studio in the entire entertainment sector. I can't think of a studio that's worse than them.
Like when they announced that there's going to be a Darth Maul animated series, my first thought was that's something I would have loved to have seen 15 years ago. And my second thought was he's going to have a snarky female sidekick. And then the next thing I saw about it was, and Darth Maul is going to train an apprentice who's a girl.
So,
And I
yeah,
was
so
like,
they're
there it
bringing
is.
Darth Talon in from the EU, which
Yes.
is completely wrong time frame.
Yep, about 500 years before she should exist.
Yeah, and they're basically going to bastardize that character. It won't be anything like the Darth Talons and
No, of
any
course
of
not.
the EU stuff. So
Dear, oh dear. Good times. Good times.
mm,
Zombie Box says Sesame Timbers. No Ray movie, but everyone loves Ray. Yeah, man. That's what they seem to think. That's what they seem to think.
mm.
Yeah, they do seem to think everyone loves Ray. I don't know if this is ever getting made. Do we think this is ever getting made?
I never thought this was actually going to happen, and I always said I'm not going to believe it until I actually see behind the scenes on set photos of them, during filming.
I think that's a given for any Star Wars project now. Don't believe any of it's happening until you actually see, like a bit of the project.
Well, I think the Starfighter thing's happening, but not the Ray.
That'll happen, I think. But pre-Acolyte, I think the Ray movie would have happened hell or high water. And now in a post-Acolyte world, I think they're being a lot more careful when it comes to what they spend money on.
That's true. Well, if they didn't give Leslie Headland free reign, they would have had more money back. I don't know what she spent that money on. Or what the fuck?
I gotta ask you guys: did any of you guys see the Manny Jacinto interview live on stage at Star Wars Celebration?
No.
Oh,
why was he there recently? What?
Yeah. So
why?
So I literally turned it on, and they were right in the middle of it. It was like at 3 a.m. In the morning, and man, the crowd was like, you go back and watch literally interviews earlier on, and everybody's cheering. The crowd was very quiet, and the lady who was interviewing him was completely coddling him, and
of course,
and just saying, "Oh, you're the greatest. Oh, so many fans of yours here." And the look on his face was of just sadness and disappointment of, why am I even here doing this?
Yeah.
Well, everybody hates that
every time
show.
he talks,
paychecking that, I guess.
And every time he talks, the dozens and dozens of Acolyte fans start the season 2 conversation. Apparently, they started trying to chant season 2 during the panel, and I'm just like, it's never happening, ever.
Ain't happening. Not happening.
No. Highly recommend anybody out there go watch the Manny Jacinto interview celebration. It's hilarious how she's carrying him and coddling him through the whole thing.
The therapy session.
Yeah.
Ghost on the guitar drops in with $1. Thank you so much, buddy. And Foxy Lover says, all I can think of now with all this talk about saving Star Wars is put Sydney Sweeney in it, make her hot in Eric Cartman's voice. I mean, look, Sydney Sweeney could save Star Wars for men, I think.
Disney will never do that because she does not subscribe to their agenda.
Yeah, this is true. This is very, very true. Anything left to be said on this? Coach, you want to say anything on this, or shall we just move on?
Why? He's just going to say everything I said.
That's true.
See, I can do it too.
Anything to add or not? Because we can't just shut
No, Marvin's correct. He already got there, and the only thing I could add is Star Wars is dead.
Perfect, then. Right, there you go. Brilliant.